I'm just going to pull up on Facebook, see how it happens on Facebook. All right. It's connecting to Facebook Live. All right, we are live. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with us at Holistic Energy Healing for a little Q&A with Steve and Miss Melanie. Thank you guys for joining. So as many of you know, I'm reopening this weekend, July 4th. Super excited to finally be open after about 3 months of being closed due to COVID in New York State. And you know, my intention is really to have a holistic energy healing space, a lot of chakra balancing, having products that reflect, you know, the chakras and reflect staying grounded and just connecting, you know, and especially in this time, I think it's so critical at this point to, you know, stay grounded because things are very much up in the air. And one of the things, and right now I'll be part-time open on Saturdays and Sundays while I'm still working full-time. But at the same time, I also want to support local artisans, that their missions reflect holistic energy healing. Their products are amazing and I just like to do it. So why not, right? And so I'm actually having Steve from his two companies. So let me just tell you a little something. Steve and I met probably 2008, 2009. Steve and I were trying to figure out when through a variety of soap groups. And this is the first time we're actually physically seeing each other and talking. So thank you, social media, right? Thank you, technology, for bringing us all together. And so how I met Steve via social media was through his soap company, Willow Soap Company. And later on, and Steve will definitely talk about all of this, developed a company called Sweetwater Creek Beard Company. And I am going to be carrying 4 of his beard oils in my store. And so you might be asking, what does it have to do with chakra balancing? Listen, I live near Storm King. I live near Bear Mountain. I live near beautiful trails and woods. And we get a lot of guys hanging around the main street with beards and biker dudes and classic car dudes. And so I thought, why not, right? Carry a product for a man. And so with that being said, please welcome Steve. And we have Melanie as well. And Melanie will be joining in. Melanie, her company, Live Like Alyssa, is a recipient of Steve's philanthropic donations and his work. And so super cool to have everybody here. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Thursday. I know this time feels like months and days are just all meshed into one happy, whatever you want to call it, right? So yeah, Steve, tell us, who are you? What do you do? Where do you live?
Well, I'm Steve Schwedel. I grew up in Miami, but I moved to Atlanta when I came here to go to college. But so I've been here ever since about 1986. I'm a full-time Spanish teacher is my original job, but I had always been wanting to start some kind of company, and I just didn't know what. I remember me and my now ex-wife, we used to get into doing a lot of stuff like buying grass-fed meat and whole milk and stuff like that. So at some point we started talking about how bad a lot of the soaps were that were on the market. And so I thought, you know, that'd be kind of cool to do that, to start doing soap making. So I started doing that in about 2008 in the summer. In fact, it's about 12 years ago, around this time, that I started doing it. And so I started, you know, looking up recipes and asking people for advice about those. And so I started doing that. And that's how the soap making started. And then around 2016, I don't know why, but a lot of people, you know, a lot of the women branch off into bath bombs and lotions. And bath bombs aren't too difficult, but lotions I've heard are just ridiculously difficult and time consuming. So I was like, nope, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't
so I was thinking, you know, I've had a beard on and off since about 2010. And I thought, you know, let's maybe do this. So I started looking up recipes on a lot of different websites, and a lot of them had a lot of the same, you know, types of carrier oils. So some of them would have grapeseed oil, castor oil, argan oil, jojoba, I think that's the right pronunciation,
Right.
sweet almond. And then there's some I've seen that have had stuff like macadamia nut oil, kokum, no, not kokum. I don't know, I forget the exact one, but a lot of different ones, almond, avocado oil, stuff like that. So I started looking up the different recipes to see what I really wanted to do with it. And of course, being in the soap making world, you get a chance to really find some really good sources for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that doing that, it was going to be really easy in that sense of where to get them and who had some good quality stuff.
Yeah.
As you and I know,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really important. So,
Absolutely.
so that's how I got into that. And I started looking up the recipes and I ran it by a couple people that we know, like Susan Hogg and Dave Belunca. You know, those two women, Nola and Renee Lilly, I think she lives out in Oregon.
Yeah.
So the three of them really kind of were my go-tos, and they helped me a lot with it in the very beginning. And they still do every now and then. So once I got down the ones I was going to use, they said, okay, use more of this one, less of this one. And I was like, okay. So then I did that. So then there was the thing about coming up with the good scents. So I'm thinking, well, where do I start with that? What are guys going to like? So the first thing I did was I went with the scents that I already was using, like the one for Renaissance Man,
This one.
which is this one.
Yep.
And that one is orange patchouli. And the other one was Zen Master, which is this one.
Yeah.
Because I was already using those in natural deodorant. And both of those have essential oils, which was really good. So I thought, okay, let's start with those two because of that. And then I was thinking, okay, but you also have to come up with scents that guys really like. So
that would be helpful, right?
yeah. So I came up with a Woodsman one. I don't have that bottle with me, but it's basically oak moss sandalwood. And it's a particular one, and it's really good. I've had that scent. It says my internet connection is unstable. That's not good. Anyhow.
You're okay so far.
Okay. So I also knew that was going to be good. And then the last one was, I don't have that with me either, was one called Wise Guy.
Okay.
So that one has bay rum in it. And because it has kind of like a zesty, lemony, spicy one, I had to come up with good names for it too. So I had a friend of mine, her name is Tracy. She grew up with me in Miami. And what's funny is Tracy turned out to be really good at coming up with ideas, names, advertising, marketing concepts. And I said, have you ever thought about doing that? She's like, no, but I help my husband with his stuff for his job. So between her and Julia and myself, we all just kind of collaborate on the ideas. So that's where a lot of the label ideas in the beginning came up with. So
yeah, they're beautiful. Your labels are really, really beautiful. And I sort of feel like they really symbolize who you are, what your company is.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, very cool.
Thank you. And then, and I didn't want to bug Tracy all the time because she wasn't doing it professionally, and I asked her, I said, do you want me to pay you anything? Because you're really helping me a lot. And she goes, no, it's okay. And I'm like, all right. But then, so this is about 2016 when I started doing all that, and I didn't know how to market or anything, but I knew the labels were going to be important, the scents were important. Absolutely. So around about a year later, I joined this group called Beard On, which is a Facebook group with guys from beards. And I asked somebody that I knew, what's a good group that would help me kind of get this off the ground? And he suggested that it's a guy that does reviews. So I started, getting involved with that group. And then I also somehow, somebody asked me if I needed help with graphic design or labels or this or that. And she was from Australia and her name was Jessica White. So about that time, she started helping me with the labels. And the first one she helped me with was this one, which is the one for Mountain Climber. So she actually helped me come up with a logo, and I thought, green. So I thought it was good
Yeah.
to come up with that. And that was the first one she had done for me. So she really started taking the labels to the next level for us.
That's awesome.
But I also met some guys in Beard On. One of them was this guy named Chris and another guy named James. And Chris and James really started giving me a lot of input. That scent's good, or the proportions are right, or try these scents. And they came up with a lot of the combinations. And in the beginning, they came up with a scent that's mostly got fragrance oils in it, but it's the best selling beard oil I've got. And it only has one essential oil in it.
Right.
But that's the one called Lions of the Caribbean.
That sounds really good. What's in
Yeah,
that?
it's really, really good because it's got the bay rum in it, and then it's got some fruit in it, and then it's got cinnamon in it. So that combination, I mean, it really is taken off. I've sold more of that one than I have any other. But that really kind of got things going. And a lot of people know me and our company for that scent, mostly. I mean, they're guys from other beer groups that they would like to get it. And the word just has traveled around on that. But so I still collaborate with Chris and James the most, but there were other guys like Greg, Mark, and then I have started getting brand ambassadors, and they tell me whether it's good or not. And that's Tim, Brian, and now there's another guy named Paul. And so they tell me whether it's good or not, or if they, I need to tweak it a little bit more, this, that. So
right. So because I don't have a beard, so I really wouldn't know. But what is so? When you create a blend and you use oils, you use a couple of different oils, right? Is that what?
Yeah, I use about 4 oils, and then I use vitamin E.
Vitamin E. Okay. So what's the purpose of using these specific oils in your recipe?
Well, the biggest thing was I was looking for ones that were going to be good for conditioning the beard, but yet wouldn't make it too greasy or would make it dry out. And they can do that. I mean, or the oils won't be good carriers. So the first ones I came up with, I started using argan oil was one of the first ones. And the big thing is that makes your beard shiny. It doesn't give you split ends. Everyone's always looking for stuff that's going to make their beards grow. So it does that too. And it's not real greasy. And I saw a lot of beard company guys, they would use like grapeseed oil, which breaks down really fast. Some people were even using sunflower or safflower oil. And I'm thinking, those are cooking oils. Why would you want to use that? So I'm like, nothing that's a cooking oil is going to go into this. No way.
Right.
So that was one of the first ones. And then I heard about another company that was using this stuff called Abyssinian oil, which is really good too. And it's lighter than argan oil. And it also is really good for strengthening the hair shafts. So I kind of go between the two based upon availability.
Right.
So, and then I knew some people were talking about what's really good for moisturizing. And so there was a lot of talk about jojoba oil and lanolin and stuff like that. And I'm thinking lanolin, I'm not sure I want to use that. But the jojoba is really good. And I found that it's good because it unclogs the hair follicles. It protects the hair from breakage. It strengthens your beard hair. It also has antibacterial properties. It has zinc, copper, and silicon in it, which fights off dandruff. And I found out that some of the guys told me, I use this beard oil or I don't use any, and I have dandruff under it, and then it causes my skin to dry out and flake. So that actually helps with it. So that's really, when I saw them, like thinking, okay, this is definitely going in it.
Yeah.
And then I knew that almond oil, I saw almond oil was one of the suggested ones too. And I know about almond oil because it goes in a lot of lip balm.
Right. And it's a lighter oil, so it's not heavy. It's not going to really sit on the skin. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, you don't realize the chemistry and the complexity when it comes to like beards, right? And so, and I could see why it's taken off because, a lot of men have beards, right? And you need to keep it nourished and moisturized and you don't want it to be damaged. I had no idea you can actually get split ends in your beard. Who knew?
Oh yeah.
So thank you for that.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I have to, when I put it in, you got to put it in in the morning, and then you refresh it with beard balm later on the day too. There, especially if you're outdoors a lot. So
Yeah.
that's kind of good. And then I put the vitamin E, and that's also in a lot of things too as well. So
absolutely. So I know you have this collection, and then you also have a collection that I think is part of your philanthropy piece.
yes.
Yeah, talk about that.
Okay. Well, hang on. Let me go back a minute. The other thing that I also learned, and let me just back up too, is that the carrier oils and all that are really important. But for this to work too, you got to come up with good scents. So I start out with the essential oils and the fragrance oils, but then I had to come up with some that I didn't even think were going to be really good, or I didn't think that guys would like. So I guess I can segue into that. So I came up with doing something for the guys that were my brand ambassadors. So one of the guys is in the Army, or was in the Army, is a sharpshooter. So that was James. And so the first one I came up with that's philanthropic is this one. It's called Soldier.
Soldier, yes.
And it's got James's picture of when he was 20 years old and he was in Afghanistan. So it really was personalized, and I thought it was really good. So I said, okay, I think to do something really good with this, how about you tell me a charity you wanted me to donate some of the proceeds to, and we'll do that. So he came up with Working Dogs for Vets, which is a real nonprofit, and they provide dogs to veterans that need those extra guide dogs.
Yeah.
Another one I came up with was Sarge, and that was, I don't have the one with me, but that one was chosen by a guy named Mike Van Aken, and he's from Ohio, and another guy, Jonathan Haney. Both of them chose the Till Valhalla Project and Motorcycle Relief.
Okay.
So those were the first three I did. And then along the way, I did this one, which had no real philanthropic connection, but this one is Forager, and it's black raspberry vanilla. And this one has, you can kind of faintly see an image of it, of a guy picking berries. So this is where now Melanie comes in. And Melanie and I met, I want to say it was about 8 years ago when I used to do a market outside of Atlanta, and I was there selling my soap and stuff. I wasn't even doing beard oil then at all. But so her and her husband Monty would go to the markets there, and we met there. We got to talk, and I was selling whole milk for another farm and everything. And then, we kept in touch over the years. So is it about 3 or 4 years ago your daughter Alyssa passed away, Melanie?
Actually, this July 5th will be 3 years.
Okay.
So 2017 when the accident occurred.
Okay. So she approached me about doing some fundraising for a foundation she was starting for the organization she called or named Live Like Alyssa in honor of her daughter. So, she was doing a golf tournament, I remember, around Cinco de Mayo. And so she asked me for donations, and it started out like that. So then about 6 weeks ago, I thought, I want to do some more things for charity. So I said to her, well, let's go with maybe this oil, which is the Forager one. And I gave her the choice of that one or the other one I do, which is Explorer. And she said, yeah, let's do this one, which is Forager. And so I told her what I would do is I would price it a certain way. And every time I sell an oil or a balm, $5 of it goes towards Live Like Alyssa. And if somebody buys the oil and the balm together, then $10 of it would go to Live Like Alyssa for every sale. So that's kind of what I decided to do for Melanie. So, and Melanie's going to go ahead and explain what Live Like Alyssa does. So.
Absolutely. And now I'm just going to have to buy some and sell them in the store. So
that'd be great.
Awesome. Yes, I appreciate this opportunity very much. We are a 501(c)(3) or C3, excuse me. And it all started because my daughter Alyssa was a school teacher, as I'm a school teacher, and my husband Monty is also. And Alyssa was very much into gardening, and she worked with special needs students. And I have a picture. This is an older picture I'm going to hold up so you can see how beautiful she was.
Yeah.
And so Alyssa had the heart for exceptional needs students. And one of the reasons was because of her brother, and growing up with him, who he has Asperger's. And so she was inspired to work with those kids, and she loved it. Every day she would call me and say, Mom, what about this guy? You know, what can I do? And so she was really into reaching those kids. And so whenever she passed away, you know, it's been a difficult time for us. But this has been a healing process for me, and being able to talk about my daughter has really helped me a lot. She inspired so many people when she was alive, and she's still inspiring people. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we do, because of her love for special needs students, is we give scholarships every year to students who apply. And one of the stipulations is they have to have an IEP, which is an individual education plan. And they do a short video and talk about themselves in the application, and we determine, our board determines the number and how much we can afford at that time. All of this is going off of donations, I might say. No one in our organization makes any money, okay, as far as administrative costs or anything like that. We don't have that right now at this time. And so every cent goes straight to students and teachers. And so we've started the $2,000 scholarship for them to either go to college or technical school, whatever they choose. And this year we're able to give out 3. In years past, the year before last, we gave 2, and then the first year was 1 person. And so it'll be students who have disabilities like Tourette's syndrome or learning disability, or Asperger's. We've had several students who have, combinations. Mm-hmm. And recently, this past year, we've started giving out $500 scholarships for teachers. They're grants. Wow. And they're for school gardens. And so we were able to give out 2 of those this past year, and we're super excited about it. And Alyssa was so much in love with gardening, and so we are too. And so we're just really proud to be able to give back to students on that level. She would can with her students after they harvested their crop, then they would can things, and it was amazing, the things that she did. And so we want her love to continue, and that's why we do what we do.
That's amazing. And honestly, Melanie, the minute you just started talking, I just started to cry. I am like tearing up pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, 3 years is not a long time ago, and I definitely can tell you miss her very, very, very much. I had a cousin who passed away 2008, I believe. And so we're coming up on his anniversary, July 15th. And so it's probably also why I'm a little bit, July is a rough month for me too, but in looking at the website, Live Like Alyssa, I mean, beautiful. Ooh, we just lost her. There you go. I love the gardening aspect because as an herbalist, right, that's what I love as well. And then working with special needs kids, which are also my passion too. So it's probably very kismet as to why we're meeting for the first time too, right? You never know. And so, yeah, Alyssa's legacy lives on, and it'll live on forever, and the things that you could do for the kids and the teachers are amazing, and so tell me a little bit something about a current scholarship recipient.
Okay, so we have 3. One is, his name is Eli Jones, and Eli I had the privilege of being his 5th grade teacher, as did my husband. And so Eli has anxiety, and some of the things that he would say and do in class, we just love Eli. And he's going to go to school for welding.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Oh, that's
Yes.
great.
So he's received $2,000 to help him to go to school for welding. And he is from Troup County. He was in Henry. Most of our recipients are from Henry, but he moved to Troup County. So we want to expand this outside of Georgia. My long-term goal is to have this throughout the United States.
Mhm.
You know, so we really want to expand it. And we also have another student this year, Tristan Flowers Handy, and Tristan has Asperger's, but she's going to school. I believe she said art was her passion, and so she wants to go to art school. And so we've given Tristan $2,000 as well. And then our last recipient this year is Deborah Lorraine Murphy. And we didn't have as many applicants this year as I think it was the whole COVID thing.
Probably.
But all three of our applicants this year are getting scholarships. Nice. And so Deborah Lorraine is going to go. She didn't tell us exactly. I don't think she's a little undecided right now as to what her major is going to be. But she has worked so hard. Because I remember Deborah, I also had her in that, all three of these students were in that same, well, no, Deborah was in a different class, but she and we taught her as well. And she worked so hard to overcome her learning disability. And it was in math. And now that's one of her strengths. Amazing. So we're super proud of her. And we're super proud of all three of our recipients this year, and we hope to be able to continue to give scholarships once a year, and also, like I said, these garden grants for teachers who are interested in starting school gardens and using them as learning tools, because you can teach any subject through the garden. So herbs has been one of our favorites at our school garden as well, and they love the rosemary and the thyme because they can touch it,
memory enhancer and supporter. So there you go.
Yes, absolutely. Works well in a school garden. So that's a little bit about Live Like Alyssa. And, our website is livelikealyssa.com. So feel free to look on that. And we're also on Facebook under Live Like Alyssa. You have any other questions?
No, I am totally in love.
Oh,
and I'm so glad that our paths have crossed. I'm sure Steve feels the same way.
Yeah.
And yeah, however we can support. And so, Steve, I'll be placing another order. Definitely, I'll put up a little something of Alyssa. If you send me something, I'll put a little section for her, and with a little write up of who she is and what her passions are, and see what we could do. And congratulations to your recipients. I mean, look, I think any young person has the potential to do whatever they strive for, and so and I'll just share a little tidbit, but I pulled my son out of school 2 weeks before COVID happened. And he struggled through middle school, struggled through ninth grade. And just in the few months of homeschooling, outside of all this COVID stuff, he just did his end of the year assessment and totally surprised me with the way that I've structured his learning, the way that the tutors have been working with him. He's excelling. And I'm sitting here so blown away. I mean, math is still a bit rough for him, but we'll get there. But, he's reading on a 10 and a half grade level, almost 11th grade level. I mean, not that I never thought he didn't have the potential. I always knew he had the potential. But when I took control of his learning, huge difference. Absolutely. So he's now even thinking about, well, maybe I do have the potential to go to college. Maybe I do have the potential to do things, and so that's also near and dear to my heart too. And I know Steve also has helped me with some special ed stuff too. So, so outside of the soap and the beard oil stuff, we talked about educational stuff too. But yeah, that's amazing. And I wish you continued love and success and let the foundation grow and, hey, become international. Just don't stop in the United States. Go far and wide.
Yes.
Awesome. So Steve, yeah, any parting words? Anything else?
No, just you know, I mean, I'm just doing what I'm doing. We started, like I said, with those first few cents. We now have about 16 or 17. And I'm getting ready to work on another one called First Responder, and we're going to probably tie that to the Terry Farrell Fund. And he's
that's here
a
in Long Island.
firefighter that
Yeah.
died, and he was one of the firefighters that worked in the 9/11 salvage and rescue. And so I think the website is called theterryfund.org.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I saw.
Something like that. But yeah, I'll have more information on that one. But there's a guy that I met in the Beard group again, and he's a former firefighter from Suffolk County. So I told him this beard oil would be in your honor, and you choose the charity again. And he said that's the one he wanted. And when I read about what they do, I was like, wow, it's really, really good charity. So I'm starting to develop more and more charities to tie to it, and the same thing would be $5 from the oil or balm and $10 from the combination. So I'm going to try and get that done this summer before we go back to school. So,
exactly right. Whatever school's going to look like in September, right?
But yeah, I'll probably send out pictures of it and do a big promotion on that. But we are going to also continue to work with Live Like Alyssa and the other charities. So I think they're all great charities. They all do great things. And you know, I think if we all just try to be compassionate and try to help each other out, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Because my brain thinks like this a lot, I just thought of an organization that I actually really like. So I may actually work with you to consult and maybe create something.
Absolutely.
An organization I came across maybe 4 years ago called Bikers Against Child Abuse, BACA, and they're international actually. And so, we get a lot of bikers that come through town, and so maybe that's something we can work on.
Oh yeah.
So that'd be pretty cool because that's also dear to my heart too. But so where can people find you?
I have an Etsy shop, so it's etsy.com shop, and it's got a weird ending, Georgia Goat Milk and Vegan Soap, because that's the main thing I do. But it has the soap and the beard oil and beard balms and everything on there.
Yeah, and I'll post all those links up and everything too, so people can find me directly. Yeah. And I'll post your stuff up as well, Melanie, so people can find you. Thank you. You're very welcome. So thank you guys for joining me today. This is a lot of fun.
It's great.
Wasn't so bad, right, Steve? You're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good. So I will post all that up when my newsletter goes out. I will post all of this in the newsletter as well. And yeah, thanks for joining, and we'll keep in touch.
All right.
Great.
Have a great day.
Herbal and aromatic love from Cornwall, New York to you.
One day I'll make it up there.
You have to. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful up here.
I'd like to.
And then you can visit your charities over here on Long Island. So.
Oh yeah.
All right, you guys. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.
Yes, ma'am. You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.